knowing what we should be doing is, it's rarely the hard part of life.
Right.
Like, we all have the knowledge we should be saving more or eating better or starting that big project.
Sure.
But the actual difficulty, the thing that trips us up every single time, is just consistency.
How do you keep doing it?
Yeah, how do you make yourself do the right thing, especially when it just feels uncomfortable?
And that's exactly where this final crucial law of behavior change comes in. You have to.
Yeah.
You just have to make it satisfying.
Uh-huh.
If a behavior isn't immediately rewarding in some small way, the odds of you repeating it just plummets.
I'm thinking about that case. Stephen Luby in Karachi, right? Back in the late 90s.
Right, in Pakistan. And the conditions there were they were brutal.
Horrific. A sprawling city, deep poverty, these incredibly dense, unsanitary slums.
Yeah, where clean water was a total luxury, and you had raw sewage in the streets.
So the health stats were what you'd expect.
Awful. Nearly a third of the kids were malnourished. And things like diarrhea, pneumonia,
Yeah.
they were just rampant, constant.
And Luby's team knew that if they could just get people to consistently wash their hands, it could make a huge difference.
A massive difference, even if nothing else about the environment changed.
But here's the thing. Everyone there already knew that. They knew hand washing was important.
Exactly. It wasn't an information problem at all.
It was an execution problem. People would, rinse their hands for a second or just forget entirely. The knowledge was there, but the habit wasn't.
So they realized they had to stop talking about the delayed reward, you won't get sick next month.
Right.
And they had to focus entirely on the immediate experience. So they teamed up with Procter & Gamble.
And they supplied Safeguard soap. And not just any cheap soap, right? This was the key.
No, it was a premium product. And that was a stroke of genius.
Why? What did it do differently?
The change was purely sensory. This soap, it foamed up really easily, created this rich lather, and it smelled great. So hand washing went from being this, forgettable chore to something that just for a few seconds was actually a little bit pleasurable.
It created an instant positive feedback loop.
Instantly. It hijacked the brain's reward pathway. That smell, the feel of the lather, that immediately signals success. So much stronger than some abstract statistic about disease.
Yeah, the results just prove the whole thing.
Oh, they're incredible. Diarrhea rates fell by over half, 52%. Pneumonia dropped by almost 50%.
But the really mind-blowing part is the longevity.
Absolutely. The team came back 6 years later. The free soap had been gone for 5 of those years.
And what did they find?
95% of the households.
Yeah.
95% still had a dedicated hand washing station.
Wow.
They kept doing it. That initial satisfaction was so powerful, it literally rewired their habits for years just because it felt good.
That little bit of immediate pleasure was the switch. It told the brain, hey, this is worth doing again.
And you see this everywhere in commercial history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, take chewing gum.
Sure.
The first versions were just bland, utilitarian. Then Wrigley comes along in the 1890s with spearmint and juicy fruit.
And they're not selling dental hygiene.
No, they're selling a blast of flavor, an immediate sensory reward that makes chewing fun.
Toothpaste is the perfect example, too. It's the same as the Safeguard soap.
Exactly the same. All those minty flavors, peppermint, whatever, they don't actually make the paste clean your teeth any better.
But they create that intense, fresh, clean mouth feeling.
And that feeling convinces your brain, okay, job done, I'm clean. That little hit of satisfaction is powerful enough to get you to do it twice a day, every day.
So it's clear. Pleasure is the engine of repetition. But that brings us to the big problem, why we all struggle so much with our modern goals. There's an evolutionary catch.
There is. We have to talk about the mismatch between our ancient brains and our modern world.
For almost all of human history, something like 200,000 years, we lived in what they call an immediate return environment.
Right.
Every decision had an instant consequence. Did I find food? Did I get away from the lion? Is this shelter safe?
Instant gratification wasn't a flaw. It was how you survived. If you didn't focus on right now, there was no later.
And our brains are still running on that same software.
We haven't had an update, but in the last, 500 years, we've completely flipped the script. We now live in a delayed return environment.
And that's where all the friction comes from.
All of it. Our most important goals today, saving for retirement, getting a degree, building a career, the reward is always way off in the future.
You go to the gym for an hour today, you don't look any different tomorrow.
Not at all. You skip a fancy coffee, and your retirement account basically looks the same. The payoff is just so distant.
This is that idea from behavioral economics.
Yep.
Time inconsistency, right?
Time inconsistency, exactly. We value a reward that is certain right now way more than a bigger reward that's only possible later. Our present self just constantly sells out our future self.
Can you break that down a bit? Like, what does that look like in a real-world example, say at work?
Okay, sure. Let's say you need to learn some complex new software. You know mastering it is going to lead to a promotion next year.
Okay, big delayed reward.
Huge. But for the next 3 weeks, the immediate reality is just struggle. You're putting in frustrating hours, you feel incompetent. That's an immediate cost. It's painful.
And your brain sees that immediate pain and just wants an escape.
It's screaming for an escape. It urges you to check your email or scroll social media, anything for a little dopamine hit right now.
Because the consequences of bad habits are delayed, but their rewards are immediate.
That's the trap. Smoking reduces stress now. The cancer risk is decades away. Overeating is delicious in the moment. The health problems are way down the road.
And good habits are the complete opposite. The cost is now the discomfort of the workout, the effort of studying, and the reward is later.
It's this constant battle, isn't it? It's present you versus future you.
Future you makes the plan, sets the alarm, makes the budget.
Future you is very responsible. But when that alarm goes off, present you takes over and says, nope, I'm tired. I want comfort. I want it now.
And present, you almost always wins that little fight.
It does. Which means we have to update the rule. It's not just what is rewarded is repeated. The biological reality is what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided.
So we have to stop trying to fight our own nature, stop relying on just willpower.
You can't. We have to work with our need for immediate feedback, not against it. The whole game becomes about injecting some kind of instant pleasure into these long-term habits.
So it's about engineering a little feeling of success right away?
You have to.
Yeah.
You need to tell your brain right now that the effort was worth it. That little hit of satisfaction is what keeps you going while you wait for the real benefits to show up.
That's classic reinforcement then, using an immediate reward to make a behavior more likely.
And it's most critical in those early stages, before the intrinsic rewards have had a chance to kick in.
Right.
Before you start naturally feeling more energy or seeing the results.
Okay, let's stick with the exercise example. The long-term reward is getting fit, but that takes forever. So what's a good immediate reward?
Well, this is where the alignment rule comes in. You can't reward yourself for exercising with a giant bowl of ice cream.
Right, because that just votes for a conflicting identity.
It completely undermines your goal. Instead, the reward has to reinforce the identity of a healthy person.
So what would that be?
Maybe the second you finish your workout, you get to watch an episode of a show you only let yourself watch after exercising. Or maybe you book yourself a really nice deep tissue massage for the end of the week, a reward that reinforces body care.
I see. So what if the habit isn't physical? What about that? That hard work project. The payoff is a good review in 6 months, but the immediate cost is 3 hours staring at a spreadsheet.
Same principle. You need micro rewards. You finish your 3-hour block of deep work, and you immediately get 15 minutes to do something genuinely fun.
And not just check email.
No, absolutely not. Something truly pleasurable. Read a chapter of a great book. Play a quick game. You're signaling to your brain, hard work done, immediate fun unlocked.
Okay, but this gets even harder when we talk about habits of avoidance.
Oh, much harder.
Things you want to stop doing, like no frivolous purchases or no mindless scrolling. How do you reward that? Resisting temptation doesn't feel good, nothing happens.
You're just deprived.
Yeah, that's the trickiest one. There's no positive feedback for not doing something, so you have to create it. You have to make the act of resisting visible and tangible.
Wow.
This is where the savings account tactic is so brilliant. You open a separate savings account, and you give it a really motivating name, something specific like trip to Europe or new leather jacket.
Okay, I like that.
Then, every single time you successfully avoid the bad habit, you immediately transfer the money you would have spent.
So you skip the $6 latte.
You transfer $6 right then and there.
Yeah.
You decide not to order takeout for $50.
You transfer $50. Exactly. And the immediate reward isn't the future trip. The reward is the act of the transfer. It's seeing that number tick up instantly.
You're making the invisible win, the act of saying, no, a visible success.
A quantifiable success. It's a quick hit of visual progress for doing nothing. It tricks your brain into enjoying discipline.
So it really all comes down to these little bits of reinforcement. The smell of the soap, the minty toothpaste, Seeing that savings account number go up.
They provide that little hit of immediate pleasure you need to just keep going, to get the habit loop started and keep it running.
Until the real intrinsic rewards take over.
And that's the ultimate goal. The immediate reward is like training wheels. It's essential at the start, but eventually you start to feel it. You have more energy, your stress is lower, you actually feel proud of yourself.
And once that happens, the habit sticks because it's become part of your identity. You don't do it for the little reward anymore.
You do it because you're the kind of person who works out, or you're the kind of person who is financially responsible. The identity itself becomes the ultimate reinforcer.
So the final thought for you to take away is this.
Because our brains are so universally wired to chase those cheap, immediate hits of satisfaction, the road of delayed gratification, the one that leads to real long-term success, it's always the least crowded path.
So being willing to engineer a little satisfaction for yourself now in service of a much bigger payoff later, that gives you an incredible lasting advantage.